Hello and welcome to our musical journey today. Names and values of notes. Have you ever looked at a piece of sheet music and wondered about those mysterious symbols scattered all over the stuff? Well, today we are diving into the world of musical notes. Let's look at the names of these notes. The first note we'll have is this one. It's oval shaped, and this is called a whole note. It is also known as a semibreve. One thing to remember is that notes can either be named the American way. This is American way of naming notes. And this is the British way of naming notes. We have the next note, also the oval shape with a vertical line joining at the end of that oval. This is called a half note. Also known as a minim. Next is this one. This is called a quarter note. Also known as a crotchet. Then followed by this one. This is called an eighth note. Also called a quiver. And the last one we will see today is this one. This is called a 16th note. Or a semi-quiver. So these are the notes that are commonly used in music. Now let us look at the correct way of writing notes. A note can be written in an upward direction or a downward direction, meaning stems can face upwards or downwards. So the placement of the stems will change based on the direction of the note. With an exception of the whole note, all other notes have stems, and they can be written in two different ways. For a half note, for instance, so we can write a half note with a stem facing upwards, or we can also write it with a stem facing downwards. So here is where the difference comes. When a stem is facing downwards, that stem will be placed on the left hand side of the note head. So writing a half note with a stem facing downwards on the right hand side is wrong. This is the correct way of placing stems when notes are facing downwards. So this applies to all other notes with stems and flags also. So for a quarter note, it's that way, or that way. The same goes for a quiver and a semiquaver. That way. The flag, this is also written that way. And look at the direction of the flag now. It's that way. So it's not the other way around, not this way, not this way. This would be wrong also. So this is the correct direction for the stems and the flags. Something important to be noted. And we will see when a knot should have its stem facing upwards or downwards once we start writing these knots on the staff. There's a rule that will be followed. We'll see it once we get to placing knots or writing knots on the staff. Now let us look at the values of knots. A knot value refers to the duration of a knot. How long is a knot held when played? How long do we hear the sound of a knot before it stops? Some are held for longer time, some for short time, and some for very short time. So this duration is what gives a knot its value. Now let us look at these values in practice. We'll start with a whole knot. A whole knot has a value of 4 beats. So when this knot is played, it is held for 4 equal counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we only hear the first beat and the knot is held for 4 equal counts. That's the value of a whole knot. So if you have 2 whole knots in a row, let's say we have 2 whole knots like that plus that second one. So we will first hear the first beat, and once we hear that, the other beats are held for up to 4 counts. So we will have 1, then 2, 3, 4, then another 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the value of a whole knot. Next is a half knot. A half knot has a value of 2 beats. So this knot will be held for 2 beats. Each knot will be having 2 count length. 1, then a 2. 1, 2. I'll demonstrate that with the claps. 1, 2, 1, 2. So if we have 3, we'll have 3 notes with each of a length of 2 counts or 2 beats. Moving forward, we have a quarter note. So you can already guess how long that note is held when played. If a whole note had 4 beats, a half note had 2 beats, a quarter note will most probably have 1 beat because it's a quarter. So that's just 1 beat. So each note receives a one count. It's not held for long, just one count. So if we had, say, 4 quarter notes, then each would have received just a single beat. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4 times. So you count how many notes in a row, you clap each of them once, or you play each once. If it's an instrument, if it's a piano, you press your key once. 1, 1, 1, 1. Then we have a quiver, the semi-quiver afterwards. So a quiver will now have, because a quiver will be an eighth note, half of a quarter note. If a quarter note has 1 beat, a quiver will have a half beat. So that's even shorter than that 1 beat in a quarter note. To have 1 beat, we'll need to have 2 eighth notes. So these two together will form 1 beat. So this is a half, that's a half, and this is also a half. So together they form 1 beat. And the speed will now differ. That means for every 1, we will have to have 2 half beats of quavers. So it's 1, 1, 1, 1. When I mention 1 for a quarter note, I will have clapped 2 quavers. To make it easier, for the first beat, we'll just give it a word 1, and for the second half, we'll give it the word end. So we'll be saying 1 end, 1 end, and this is just for making sure that we are at the right speed, right timing. 1 end, 1 end, 1 end, 1 end. So if I have 4 eighth notes, and as we had seen previously, that we can flag them together. So we'll give this one a 1 end, and this will also be 1 end, 1 end, 1 end. So that's 1, 1, 1 end, 1 end. Now let's move to the last note, a semiquaver. That one. So this one is half of a quiver with 2 flags. This will have a quarter beat. That means for every 1 beat, 1 standard beat, we will have 4 16th notes. So the speed will even double that of the quavers. Let's say we have these 4 of these, 2, 3, 4. Again, we can also flag these together. All these will be equal to 1 beat or 1 quarter note. 1, 1, 1, 1. For every 1 count, I will have played 4 16th notes. 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If this is the speed at which someone is playing, then it's a very fast speed. We can actually relate that to the speed. A whole note is a very slow. Imagine of a person walking and changing the steps after every 4 counts. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, another step. 1, 2, 3, 4. This person would be walking at a very slow speed. So a whole note, if we have to relate that to the speed, you can say that this is very slow. It's very slow. Then let's look at a half note. So imagine of a person making another step after every 2 counts. So that's 1, 2, 1, another step. That's a slow speed. Now let's look at a 1-beat note. So a person changing a step after every 1 count. 1, 1, 1. This is probably someone walking at a moderate speed or walking speed. Then let's look at the 8th notes. So if a person walks at this pace, so changing a step with this speed, this person will no longer be walking, this person will be running. So this is fast. It's running, running, or we can also say this is fast. Then coming to the 16th note, if a person is at that speed, so that's a very fast speed, very fast. This is it for the values of notes. It's the duration, the time at which a note is held when played. How long do we hear the sound when a note is played, or when you sing, how long do you hold that sound? So that length is what determines the value of a note. Moving forward, let us look at the relationship of notes. How are notes related? To demonstrate this, we will use what we call a note tree. This will give us a clear view of how notes are related. So at the top, let's have our whole note. A whole note is made of 2 half notes. That one and that one. This one has 2 beats and this has 2 beats, so these 2 half notes will make 1 whole note. Next, each of these half notes is also divided into 2 quarter notes. So this half note has that 1 quarter note and that second quarter note. This has 1 beat and this has 1 beat. It forms the 2 beats that we have in 1 half note. The next half has also 2 quarter notes. This one, 1 beat there, and that one, another beat. So these also form 1 half note, and the 4 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, will form 1 whole note. So 1 whole note has got 4 quarter notes. But the division goes on. We now have 8th notes. Each of the quarter notes has 2 8th notes, 1 and 1. This is a half and this is a half beat. Together they form 1 beat. The same applies to that one. That's a half. This one, the half. They also form another quarter note. So the 4 8th notes will form 1 half note, that half. So 1 half note will have 4 8th notes. Let's move to the second side. This one quarter note will have also 2 8th notes. So this is a half and that's a half. Together they form 1 quarter note. The same applies to that one. This is a 1 half and the second half. Together they form that quarter note. So this half is made up of 4 8th notes, and now the whole note will be made of these 4 plus these 4, which are 8 8th notes. And let's finish with the last part where we have 16th notes. So each of these 8th notes will also have 2 16th notes. Quarter plus a quarter So these two 16th notes will form one 8th note. The same applies to this one. That's a quarter, and that's a quarter. The same applies to that one. 2 there. It's a quarter, quarter. Same to that one. When drawing these notes, make sure that the stems, the heads, and the flags are properly linked together. This one too. And lastly, that one. 2 16th notes. And each of these are of a quarter beat value. So 1/2 note will have 8. If you count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will form 1/2 note, while 1/4 note will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that quarter note will also have 4, and each 8th note will have 2 of these. So one whole note will have a total of all the 16 16th notes. Now, since we already know the names of notes and their values, we can start creating simple rhythms by mixing up these notes. Let's see some few examples. I may have a whole note, maybe followed by half note, and another half note, 2 quarter notes, something like that. We can have another half note, and finally finish with a whole note. Let's make another rhythm, a simple one. We may have half note followed by a quarter note, another half note, quarter note, and maybe another half note. We will finish with this last pattern. Let's have something a little more complex. Maybe a half note, 2 quarter notes, another quarter note. Let's have this. Maybe we also have these ones. So all these are simple rhythms. We've got all different notes mixed up in that linear form. Those are rhythms. The first rhythm, this will receive 4 beats. I'll just demonstrate this one, and the rest I'll put no numbers. So this will receive 1, then 2, 3, 4. This will have 1, 2. This will have 1, 2. That's a quarter note, so each will receive 1 strong beat. That's a half note, 1 strong beat, and the second one is held 2 beats in total, and that's a whole note, 4 beats, 2, 3, and 4. I'll clap and count so that you hear. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope that's clear. The second one now, you don't have to always be marking the beats that this is 2, this is 1. They have to be clearly known. So that's a half note, 2 beats. This is 1 each. This is 2. This is 1, and that is 2. On the third rhythm, this is 1, 2. That's 1, 1, 1. If you remember these 2, we use 1, and we have this end, and that will be another 1 end. Don't forget this. And this is 1, this is 1, 2. We'll go to the second one now. I'll clap and count. I would advise everyone to be counting these rhythms aloud. Just count them aloud. you'll get the rhythms very fast, and you will not at some point need to be counting anymore. Let's start on the second rhythm. So that's 1 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 2. Moving to the third one, 1 2 1 1 1 1 and 1 and 1 1 2. You can also be clapping these rhythms while following the video. Let's continue by looking at more examples, focusing more on short note values, eighth notes, 16th notes, few quarter notes, and half notes. Taking an example of this first rhythm, let's say we have a half note there, quarter notes, eighth notes, like that, and one more we can have, so that one, now let's have these four as 16th notes, we can have a quarter note and finish with a half note. Now, how does this go? The first one might be easier than the second one. This has more short valued notes. We have the eighth notes there. Be careful with the right timing. A challenge may come here with the 16th notes. More care is needed at such points. We will have some other details to help us later on when it comes to playing 16th notes. The first one is easy. I'll not write any numbers on that. The second one, I'll explain it in detail after having gone through it. Okay, the first one. 1, start. 1 2 1 1 1 and 1 and 1 1 and 1 2. Number 2. I can clap that one first, then you can repeat after me. 1, go. 1 2 1 and 1 1 and 1 1 and 1 1 2. Now we can clap that rhythm together. 1 2 1 and 1 1 and 1 1 and 1 1 2. Now let's try to break down this part. It was easier for us to clap the one end because we already have the kind of pattern that we use for the right clapping of those notes. But what about the 16th notes? The 1. Will it be easy to remember playing the 4 notes within 1 beat count? Maybe not for everyone. So let's break that one down. When playing the 8th notes, we remember using the words one and. So 1 for the first note and end for the second one. And this one was quite helpful. 1 and. Now, having a similar way of counting rhythms when we have repeated 16th notes might also be very helpful. Connecting the 8th notes to the 16th notes. These notes are related because we said that each of these 8th notes is made of 2 16th notes. We flag them together instead of having each with a different flag, we can flag them together. Okay, like that. So these two are for that one, that first one, and the next two are for the second eighth note. Now, the first beat always receives, because that's the beginning of the beat, so it's 1. So our 1 will start from there. This will be given the same. So this first 16th note will receive that word 1. And so our second 8th note is marked with end. Where does our second 8th note start? It starts from the third 16th note. This one, 1, 2, 3, here. So this will be end. So our end is there. This is our 1, end is there. Okay? Now, to make it even easier, let's introduce other letters. You can pick any letter, but I prefer picking letter E for the second 16th note and having A on the fourth 16th note. So this would read, if I make it really slow, like 1 end. So it will be 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A. You see how that maintains the value easily and correctly? So it's 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E. That's it. This way simplifies our reading and correct playing of the 16th notes. Now, let's get back to our previous rhythm and see if we can apply this method. Having seen an easier way of understanding the correct playing of the 16th notes, let's move back to our second rhythm that we had previously seen. And our emphasis will now be there at the 16th notes. So we will give this first beat of the 4 16th notes a 1, and the second quiver starts at that third note, so that receives end, and we introduce the letters E and A on the fourth note of that group of 4 16th notes. So now it should be easier playing our notes while using that method we've just seen. Let's try. I'll count to 2 and we start clapping the rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and 1, 1 and 1 E and A, 1 and 1, 1, 2. Again, 1, 2, 1 and 1, 1 and 1 E and A, 1 and 1, 1, 2. It's much easier now than the first time we clapped before looking at that method. Let's end here today. Remember, notes and their variations are the building blocks of music. So the next time you see a piece of sheet music, remember, it's not just a jumble of symbols. It's a language of melody waiting to be unlocked. I hope you've learned something from the video. Don't forget to check on our other videos for other topics. Please don't forget to also like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Until next time, bye bye.